Welcome back to Jedi Enclave. I am Daniel.
I am Chris.
We're two guys, one Star Wars.
I guess.
It's like...
that makes me a little
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
it makes me a little comfortable too, but I thought of it.
And we're just going with it now?
Two guys, one Star Wars.
All right.
Hello, welcome to our show that I promise you has nothing to do with what we just were talking about. It's just Star Wars and other Star Wars adjacent things. Like I said, I'm Daniel. This is Chris.
Hi.
The co-host with the most toast.
I don't have any toast on me
I don't know.
at present, so that's
This is why I should think of these things before we before we go live, because as an improvisationalist, I'm just not very good at it.
Yeah, we need an actual writer.
Yeah.
But we can't afford to pay you.
It's
So if you're a writer out there looking
Yeah.
for some credits, this sounds really shitty being a musician saying this. We can pay you an exposure.
Yeah. Or since we don't make anything, it'd be shitty if we made money and then we paid an exposure.
Yeah.
It's kind of like our editor Luca, who's amazing,
Yeah.
and he does really good work for us. My pitch to him was, we will give you a cut of whatever money we make, which could be nothing.
And thus far it has been nothing.
So, anyway, we're here to talk about some Star Wars news. First, of course, thank you to our friends over at the Star Wars Hub. Connor over the Star Wars Hub. Thank you guys. Also, Star Wars Veritas and the Star Wars Fans United and Worldwide.
Star Wars Fans Worldwide.
Worldwide and United.
I don't think United's in there.
Well, they damn well should be.
I guess.
So thank you for being great partners and so on.
Thank you for putting up with our bullshit.
Yes, and or at least not looking at the videos and knowing what our bullshit is and just assuming that we're being good people. And
there's actual graphics and thumbnails and
Yeah.
shit. It's got to be legit, right?
Also, hello, Benjamin in the chat. What's up?
Hi, Benjamin.
Talk in the chat. We will try to read them probably in between stories, so on and so forth. We will be here right after this with our Battlefront stream. So make sure to join us for that.
7 p.m. Central.
That'll be a lot of fun. We'll play some Battlefront. And what else am I forgetting? Nothing else.
I think that's it.
Yeah. So okay, we're gonna open this with something kind of cool. Okay.
We have news.
I'm trying to. Oh, there is a lot of news
Yeah.
today, and we have of course after that a Bad Batch recap that we have to get through. I want you to paint the picture in your mind, Chris.
Okay.
You and everyone listening.
I will.
I want you to.
I will enter my mental
Okay,
palace.
Good, and I want you to remember your mental palace of solitude.
Yeah.
I want you to remember where you were and what you were doing when The Mandalorian season 2 finale aired and you watched it.
Okay. Well, it didn't actually air. It just went out.
It dropped. It appeared. Yeah.
And then I streamed it.
Because I watched it. I remember I texted you and I was like, "Don't look at the internet.
Don't go on the internet. Just watch it."
And of course, just as we predicted more than a year ago, that Luke Skywalker showed up, right? And we all cried and we all had a good time.
Yes.
And it was a lot of fun. It is safe to say that the fan reaction to Luke was overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
Right. So the first bit of Luke news, and this isn't even like the biggest Luke news, is that at San Diego Comic-Con, we were shown a poster from Star Wars' official vendor at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yep.
With this new fucking bomb-ass poster with Luke and Grogu and a yellow kyber crystal. And they're got little floaty parts there. And
it looks a lot to me like Grogu is like assembling a lightsaber and Luke's like, no, those aren't for small whatever you are. So we have to keep this crystal out so you can't actually turn it on.
Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe he's like, I'm just gonna hold on to this so you don't hurt yourself. So this was pretty exciting because like Disney announced 100 shows on Disney Plus that are eventually going to come out, but none of them really seemingly had to do with Luke Skywalker very much.
Not obvious.
Right. And so fans who were like, we want more Luke Skywalker, like what you did in the end of The Mandalorian, like that was real fucking cool. You should do more of that.
Just give us all Luke Skywalker all the time.
Yeah. Kill all the other characters off. He's a one man in the universe. And so this is really exciting. And so while we're on this thing, I couldn't help but notice because Rey's lightsaber is yellow at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
So.
You're thinking there's a connection here,
right? Because we in canon so far we've only seen in the new canon we've only seen one yellow lightsaber up to this point.
Rey's?
Sorry, two, counting hers. I mean,
okay.
In the Marvel comics, Luke finds a lightsaber at a Jedi outpost.
Right.
That ends up being yellow. And so I'm wondering if that's kind of where this kyber crystal comes from.
That would be a neat connection.
And maybe how it falls into Rey's hand.
Yeah.
And what that means for Grogu. Because, like, if it's not his lightsaber, either he's not a Jedi anymore or he's dead, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't really know what happens to him. We know that Luke picks him up, and he takes him presumably to get trained, and then that's all we know. But we know in our heart of hearts that Disney's like, we can't take Grogu out of the Mandalorian.
We can't have Snoke just kill him, right? Because we
like the 80% of the Mandalorian is Grogu.
Yeah.
Now, the rest of it is absolutely Din Djarin and how much of a badass he is and all the cameos and stuff. But I mean, come on. There are so many people watching The Mandalorian who wouldn't otherwise watch anything Star Wars just because Grogu was in it, right?
Grogu was the heart of the show.
Yeah. So I presume that he will eventually be back at some point because they can't, they don't want to lose out on their, everyone's grandma watching Mandalorian because of Grogu.
And, toy and doll sales.
Right. So, now you might remember that the one critique that almost everyone had about the Mandalorian, this episode in particular, was that the Luke Skywalker, because they did some like face replacement stuff, right? They have like a stunt double.
It's the same stuff they did in Rogue One,
right?
With Tarkin and Leia.
Well, actually, it was a little bit better than that because they actually used Mark Hamill's voice for the lines, but they used some kind of like, audio trickery to make him sound not like he's the, old and the Joker, because that's just kind of what he sounds like now. But, so that was like the one thing is like we watch this really fucking cool scene with like a X-wing that swoops in, and here comes Luke, and he pulls off the hood, and you're like, oh god, right? So following that, in the weeks to come, a whole pool of amateur VFX artists were like, oh, I can do that better. Yeah. Right? Because that's what everyone on the internet does. Sure. Right? And so like there's a YouTube channel I follow called Corridor Crew that did their own. It was like a really, like they reshot the actor. Oh. And used a combination of like VFX artistry and deep fakes. Now, do you know anything about deep fake technology?
Not really. I know like the effect is that it can make it look like there's another person doing or saying things, but I don't know anything about how it works.
So pretty much how it works is that so say that there's a video of you making a speech, or whatever, and I want it to look like I'm doing the speech and not you, because I'm better at it, right? Sure. I feed the computer a bunch of images of my face from every possible angle. Okay. And then it goes in frame by frame and figures out what expression you're making and matches it to one of the expressions I was making, and it replaces it. Every frame, and then it kind of tries to blend it in and stuff. So that's more or less how it works. So we're gonna keep an eye on this when I play this next video, because this is pretty impressive. This is probably the most popular deep fake on YouTube by an amateur. All right, so we're gonna watch this, and the deep fake is on the right here in a second. Now you'll see here in the close-up, the guy on the right looks just like fucking Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
I think it'll show him closer too. I think. And there's something to be said about the eyes. Look kind of dead in the original, and like on the right, he just looks more like Mark Hamill from Return of the Jedi.
The original, the shape of the face is very slightly off.
Yeah. So this came from an artist called, I'm gonna have to look it up probably because I can't remember. It's because it's kind of a goofy name, and no one knows if he is a he or she, or no one knows anything about it.
Shamuk.
Shamuk, yeah. So check them out on YouTube because they do other deepfake stuff with like Tarkin and shit, right? And it looks really, really good.
Yeah.
So Shamuk comes out with this really fucking cool deepfake where everyone's like, that looks like Luke Skywalker.
That's so much better.
That's more Luke Skywalker than the official Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we find out that ILM and Star Wars hired that artist onto Star Wars.
Cool.
Now.
So I feel like two different ways about this.
Okay.
On the one hand, it's really cool that Disney/Lucasfilm is going out and looking at what fans are doing and seeing really, really talented people and saying, we want you to come work for us because you can make us better.
Yes.
On the other hand, this strikes me as a sign that they're going to do more of this type of stuff.
Yes.
Because, like, this guy is a deepfake artist. You don't hire him to do things other than deepfakes because that'd be a waste of money.
Specifically for Star Wars characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, you and I are united on this. We want Disney to recast Luke Skywalker as Sebastian Stan or someone else.
Right.
Because, like, at some point we have to move on from Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill.
Which they tried to do with Alden Ehrenreich for solo Star Wars.
And I thought he did well.
Yeah.
Like
me too. I liked him a lot.
Like, for sure, that film has some problems, but Alden Ehrenreich was not one of them.
Yeah. I agree with you. Now, so if I were to go and buy Star Wars for $10 billion, it would probably cost me more than that now.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. Right. I would say we're recasting Luke Skywalker. We're gonna recast Luke Skywalker, Leia, and Han. We'll just keep Alden Ehrenreich.
Yeah.
I'll probably hire the girl from Stranger Things to play Leia because she looks just like Carrie Fisher.
Okay.
And someone like Sebastian Stan or someone who who kind of looks like that. They're not going to do it though, and it's clear that they're not going to do it. And I think part of the reason is because people kind of freaked out about Solo: A Star Wars Story, and not necessarily maybe because of Alden Ehrenreich, but because it didn't do as well as the other Star Wars movies. I just don't think it's realistic. So I think that this is where they're going. Whether or not we like it, this looks like where they're going. However, on the bright side of this, I think that we are running into a period of a ton of Luke Skywalker stories on Disney Plus and in film, or probably in shows. Maybe not so much movies, but I think that what ended up happening was that they aired that episode. People fucking loved it. They listened to people's like one critique about what their problem was about it, and they figured, okay, we'll make this better. And so
we will bring in the guy who did this better than we did.
Right. Which is great. It's humble of them.
Yeah.
And because it was, I think the guys that officially hired him were ILM.
Yeah.
And those guys don't have egos.
No,
right.
They are consummate professionals in this sort of stuff.
And the only thing that matters to them is that they get better at their craft. Right. Sidebar, not important to this particularly, but ILM shut down their model shop a couple of years ago because they're just not doing it anymore. They're not building models like for ships and stuff anymore.
Yeah, that's sad.
I know it is sad, but they've got a bunch of like crazy artists over there that still work on a bunch of stuff anyway. And so I think that this is a huge flag to the fan base. That's like, look, we heard you guys all collectively orgasm when we dropped this, and there's more Luke incoming, and probably also some of the other two main characters.
Could very well be.
So just kind of exciting when you take that plus the poster and everything else. I think it's kind of like, we're kind of like pointing toward Luke Skywalker a little bit. So
I think that's accurate.
Yeah. So what are we talking about next?
Well, as long as we are on the topic of The Mandalorian, let's get tangentially related a little bit here. The Book of Boba Fett spinoff is being produced in production. We have recently learned that a few more of the behind-the-scenes people working on this. So, do you know the name Sam Hargrave?
It sounds awfully familiar.
So, I guess his most recent work was the 2020 movie Extraction, starring Chris Hemsworth.
Oh yeah, that was not a terrible movie, by the way.
Okay.
It's if you want to see Chris Hemsworth, all of his, because he's really big.
Yeah.
He's like six, like fucking giant.
I mean, he's Thor.
All the people attacking him are normal-sized people, and they all look like children.
Yeah.
So if you want to see Chris Hemsworth beat up on what seems to be children, watch that movie because it's really fucking funny.
Yeah.
He just he'll just punch, like from behind, they just looks like a 4-year-old, and he's like, whoosh, like just punches it, like, and the fight choreography is pretty good too. Like he's got some pretty cool moves and shit.
Well, it's interesting you say that because Sam Hargrave also worked as second unit director and stunt coordinator for movies like Avengers Endgame, Deadpool, and Suicide Squad.
Right. Not at all surprised. And this, by the way, this is a thing that's happening in Hollywood a whole bunch. We're coming up on this generation of filmmakers who were stunt coordinators, and you can tell whose movies they are because they've got a lot of really cool fucking stunts in them.
Yeah. Hargrave himself is also a stunt performer and actor, so he has a lot of experience around stunts on all sides of this. Oh,
bam. Okay, sorry. Anyway,
that's fine. So he is stepping in to work on the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes,
as a second unit director, I believe. He's also some sources are reporting that he will direct at least one episode. Okay. So this suggests to me that there's going to be a fair amount of action and stunts going on in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, so they must be doing the kind of a similar thing they did for Mandalorian, where they have different directors for every episode.
It sounds like it. They've also got,
so they're going to use him for the big action set piece probably
that
of the season.
Like reading between the lines, that's what it sounds like. But like the other Book of Boba Fett directors are rumored to be Jon Favreau, Bryce Dallas Howard, Robert Rodriguez, and Dave Filoni, who all worked on The Mandalorian.
Yeah, and all of their episodes were great.
Yeah. They also pulled in cinematographer Dean Cundy? I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. But
sorry, Dean, if you ever see this.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
But he's worked on
If you're one of our tens of viewers.
He's done cinematography for things like Escape from New York, Halloween, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, Back to the Future, Jurassic Park.
Jesus, that's a lot of really... Have you seen The Thing?
I have not.
It's insane. It's like a really young Kurt Russell. We should watch it at some point.
Okay.
It'll gross you out. Wait, did he work on the new thing or the old thing?
I'm guessing the old one.
Is it from like the 70s?
It doesn't have a date here.
We'll watch it. It's real fucking weird. Plus, Escape from Escape from L.A. or New York?
New York.
I don't know if I've seen New York. L.A. It's another Kurt Russell thing, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like those are all really, really entertaining movies.
Yeah. So like, there's some really talented people working on the Book of Boba Fett, which makes sense because it's Disney and they have more money than God, and they can hire anyone they want.
Right. Everyone works for them anyway.
Yeah. So more reasons to get excited about this, I guess.
All right.
What else we got?
Were you talking about Legos?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Talk to us about Legos a little bit.
Partly Legos, but also just video games.
Yeah.
So a while back, it was announced that there was a Lego Star Wars game coming out, the Skywalker Saga. All 9 movies were being covered in this new Lego Star Wars game,
which looks amazing, by the way, based off the gameplay trailer that's playing right now.
It does look pretty neat. Yeah. What you might not have known is that for a while now, for about a year, there was a mobile game going on called Lego Star Wars Battles. I say was because it was shut down at the beginning of this month.
Oh, so it had already been released?
It was in beta.
Oh, okay.
Released in quotation marks as a beta in 2020.
Oh.
And it was shut down July 1st. It was your fairly typical mobile game. It had microtransactions because that's how these things work.
I'm sure there were a shit ton of them.
Yeah. And it was eventually shut down. What was interesting is that the studio didn't give any public reason or statement about why it was being shut down, just that it was, which suggests to me that it just wasn't making as much money as either it needed to break even and make a profit, or it just wasn't making enough profit for the publisher / developer to justify continued investment.
I would bet that they probably released the beta to like regular people.
Yeah.
So what probably happened was that they were like, okay, you can do the beta of this game, and everyone was like, no. They just didn't do it. What's weird about this?
Either that, or people tried it and didn't really like it and went to do other things.
Yeah. So the other weird thing about this is that the Lego game, the Lego game proper, like the Skywalker Saga, was supposed to be here in the spring.
And it got delayed.
And it's been delayed like 4 times. And what we're hoping is that we'll get it by winter this year, but even like no one said anything about it.
Well, this is not unusual. Like almost every game that's been developed over the past 2 years has been delayed due to COVID.
Yeah.
Just because it turns out that having a pandemic makes game development really difficult.
Yeah. Which is goofy because I would have thought that could be like the shit that you could do from home.
You would think, but doing that requires you to have like proper network security going on, and like you can't.
And some really good machines too.
Yes, and there's like details about face-to-face interaction that just help and make things go a little faster.
Yeah.
Whereas if I have to email you every single thing, you have to read it and reply. Like the asynchronicity slows things down.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, Ubisoft can't have everyone in the video game dungeon with their whips and like threatening to kill their families if they don't finish a game on time, like Rockstar did with fucking Red Dead.
Yeah. Well,
what I'm saying is the video game companies are terrible and you should hate them.
Yeah.
But video games are fun.
They are.
And I'm very conflicted about it.
Yeah. All right, what else we got?
Let's see. Well, first, in our chat, hello to Joseph and Benjamin. I wonder if they're going to kill off Grogu. Is the fire at the Jedi Temple that Luke made?
They need to explain where he went.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, they need to explain why he's not in the sequel trilogy.
Right. So first, Luke didn't make the fire at the Jedi Temple.
Snoke
Neither did Ben Solo, by the way.
Yep, it was Snoke.
But not even Snoke. It was
Palpatine all along.
It was Palpatine all along.
And he killed Grogu too.
Oh, that's so good. So yeah, that was all Palpatine. Which, by the way, if you're not familiar with those story beats, go read the Rise of Kylo Ren comics. Mm-hmm. They are fucking awesome.
They're pretty good.
And you also learn that the reason Snoke looks like shit is because Luke beat his ass.
Luke Skywalker beat his ass. Yeah.
It's a really funny part of the comic where like Ben hasn't seen Snoke for a bit, and after he gets in trouble at the Jedi Temple, he goes to him and he's like, "What the fuck happened to your face? Did Luke do that?" He's like, "Don't worry about it. I'm a little embarrassed."
But actually, yes, Luke did do that.
So yeah. Well, this new Sith Lord thing is kind of interesting. And they even have a little thing for it. And you know what the thing is?
What's the thing?
It's
he's working for it. He's going through the list of assets.
It's the cinematic for Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Oh,
the first one that ever dropped.
Yeah.
And it's not really related too much to the story because the story is like 2 seconds long anyway.
It just looks cool.
Yeah, because there are Sith in it, and they flip around. They do a flip, and then they do a thing, and
that's what we're going with.
Yeah.
Anyway,
none of what you're seeing on screen right now is canon, by the way.
True.
But it is real fucking cool. And I remember, did we know each other when this trailer came out?
We did, yeah.
We were like, I was obsessed with Star Wars sword fighting for like a summer after that because I was really excited about it. Okay, so none of this is canon. All of what we just said is unrelated to what we're about to say. So the new Disney canon a while ago launched the Star Wars High Republic era, which I don't think it's meant to replace the Old Republic era because it doesn't really happen in the same timeline or like the same amount of time in relation to the original trilogy.
Yeah, because like the High Republic is like
a couple hundred years
before Episode 1.
Yeah. So they've been coming out with a bunch of shit. They've been coming out with books and comics and a whole bunch of stuff. It's like a multimedia thing. And in a preview for one of the upcoming comics, it would appear as if they're introducing a new Sith Lord.
they introduced someone with a red lightsaber.
Right.
Which is a very subtle distinction, but it's important.
Yes.
Because, like, Kylo Ren uses a red lightsaber,
Right.
but is not a Sith.
Yes.
Asajj Ventress uses red lightsabers and is trained by a Sith, but
Sith adjacent.
Sith adjacent, but
Yeah.
is not a Sith.
Right. I think that the chances are fairly high for him being a Sith, because, and even this part isn't canon anymore from was it Lucino's book, Plagueis? It's like the lineage is Palpatine, Plagueis, Darth Tenebrous, who's a Bith, by the way.
Ah, yeah.
Which is hilarious because you think those guys just play instruments all
Yeah.
day, but and before that even we didn't.
He's playing his saxophone. He pulls out
Yeah.
a lightsaber,
Beep,
cuts
beep,
a bitch.
beep, beep. Yeah. You know what style of music that's called?
Jizz.
It's called jizz.
Mm-hmm.
We're not
Thanks,
making
George
that up.
Lucas.
Yeah. Also, that YouTube probably just heard us say that and was like, oh god. So anyway, it would appear as if they're kind of bringing some baddie with a red lightsaber in, and I think this is interesting because I've seen a couple of speculations or kind of a what if kind of scenarios where this kind of thing might connect to Star Wars Acolytes, which is an upcoming eventually Disney Plus show that we presume will have something to do with dark side users.
Yes.
I think we know for a fact. I think they've confirmed that it's happening in the New Republic era or the High Republic era.
Okay.
So who knows? They could be dropping a big thing about.
There's a bit of an issue because in Episode 1, one of the Jedi Council members says the Sith haven't been seen or heard of in centuries.
A millennium.
A millennium.
Yeah.
And this is considerably less than a millennium before then.
Right.
So.
Well, what if he killed all the Jedi that saw him?
It's possible.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
If a Sith Lord falls over in a forest,
if a Sith Lord appears in a room and murders everyone in that room, did they make a sound?
what sound did he make? So, yeah.
The answer is they didn't make a sound, but everyone that kills like,
Yeah.
ah!
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a really interesting. Did you ever read Darth Maul's Shadowhunter?
I don't think so.
Okay, so when we're doing the Battlefront stream later, remind me to talk because Joe's playing with us. So my childhood friend Joe's playing with us tonight, and we listened to that audiobook a whole bunch. But pretty much what it is the 2 days before Episode 1 starts, it's people a list of people discovering that Darth Maul exists and then him having to kill all of them pretty much because no one knows, like it's a secret and everything, and it's actually a real solid Star Wars book too. It's one of those there's a whole pile of shit Star Wars novels.
Oh boy, is there.
That one was not. It's a pretty cool thing. So what's next?
Okay, so Rosario Dawson.
Oh
Yeah.
hold on, I gotta think for this.
Okay.
It's called Ahsoka.
We're stalling while he's
This
loading
is
gas.
almost certainly gonna get us in trouble on YouTube, but
Oh well.
yellow.
All right, so Rosario Dawson most recently played Ahsoka Tano in The Mandalorian. Actually, that might not be true. She might have had some other roles, but we're going with it. So she's pretty well ensconced as Ahsoka for the near future.
Yeah, and she looks. I mean, she's confirmed for the show, the upcoming show, and she really looks like like live action Ahsoka.
Yep, she's doing well for herself. So she has social media, like everyone on the planet.
Yeah.
She went onto what is this? Instagram,
Insta, as my students call it.
for the Insta. Yes. She went onto Instagram and shared a post showing Mena Massoud. I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, I think so.
In Disney's live-action Aladdin
Yes.
as the title character.
He's very handsome.
And Lars Mikkelsen, who provided the voice for Grand Admiral Thrawn in Rebels, so she shared a post listing those two reportedly joining the Ahsoka Disney Plus series.
Yes.
And Rosario Dawson added her own caption, which I am going to directly quote, yes, with 4 S's, the best news ever.
Yeah.
Exclamation point,
That's a lot
point.
of A's, I guess.
Yeah. I need my BIPOC representation in Star Wars. Can't wait to see my BBs thrive in Ahsoka as my fave characters in the universe. Unquote.
Okay, so she must have been talking about what's his name?
Mena Massoud.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So there's a way, if you read this completely literally, it sounds like those two are confirmed to be playing those characters, and she is celebrating this.
Yeah.
I don't think that was her intention.
Yeah.
Because
did she take it down?
I don't think it was listed.
Was a member of her family assassinated?
Because that's the thing. If she was actually spilling the beans, Disney would
Disney,
be like, you
like,
need to
yeah.
delete that right. You need to delete that 5 minutes.
Fucking, there's a pound on the door, and the door gets kicked in, and it's a SWAT team. They all have fucking Mickey Mouse helmets, and they just, like, they point a gun at your kid, and they're like, delete it.
Yeah. So I think this is her, like, reacting to a rumor and saying that she's really very much in favor of it.
Yeah.
But
okay, so here's the thing. The Lars Mikkelsen thing is confirmed, and we confirmed it on our show through well, what's a good way to say it? I did some investigation. Mm-hmm. There was a news outlet that broke the news of Lars Mikkelsen joining the cast from a guy that I know, right?
Yeah.
So I contacted him and I said, "Hey, what's your source on this?" Thinking he was going to say, "Oh, it's an undisclosed Disney thing." What his answer was a really good friend that I roomed with in college works with I don't want to say too much because I don't want to out the person, but works for a particular firm that is working with Star Wars and is privy to the contract information. Yeah. And that to me is, I mean,
that's a pretty good source.
It is. He could still be lying, and if he is, fuck him, because why would you lie about that?
He could also just be mistaken.
Right. But that's a more credible source than what we're used to seeing on Star Wars news. Like with fucking Doomcock and all his, you know, I don't know, mini cocks or whatever.
Hashtag fuck Mike Zero.
Yeah. A tiny micro penis Mike Zero has. Allegedly. I have not seen it. I'm sure it might not be correct, but I did hear that Mike Zero has a tiny little micro penis. Anyway.
We were talking about Mana Masood a few months ago, I think.
Yeah, because it's he's a fan favorite to begin with. He was pretty good in Aladdin. Have you seen the Aladdin live action?
I have not.
It's good.
Yeah. He very much looks the role for Ezra, so like physically he would be a very good fit.
Yeah.
And I assume if he was in a major Disney picture already, he has the acting chops.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm almost positive this is probably what they're going to go with.
It makes sense, but that has never stopped Disney before.
Right. That's true. Like it's going to be like who'd be like the polar opposite? Who's like the whitest fucking un-Ezra actor you can think of?
Michael Cera.
Yeah. Oh God, we're gonna get, dude. They're gonna have this scene framed brilliantly, and like the door's gonna open, and like the fog like comes out and shit.
Hey
and,
guys, what's going on?
Yeah, Ahsoka's like Ezra, and it's just fucking Michael Cera. God, I hope not.
Is that it? Is that
all?
Yeah,
I think that's everything.
All right, we've done all the news.
We're going on to our next segment, which is our Bad Batch recap.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers.
We are talking about an episode that was put on the Disney Plus servers last Friday. So, like, it is now the Wednesday after, as we're recording this. If you haven't seen it by now, I assume you're just not interested. Mm. But, you know, just in case you were planning to watch it tomorrow or whatever, go away. You won't hurt our feelings, I promise. And you're welcome to come back at a later date and enjoy our questionably funny recap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, this is episode 13, titled Infested.
Yes.
So the Bad Batch is coming back to Ord Mantell. They land in the spaceport, and they get off, and Echo's like, well, Sid better pay us extra for that mission, because there was some bullshit going on. While they're walking through town and bickering and, you know, being as they are, there's a whole bunch of these guys in, like, really sinister-looking dark gray armor.
Yeah, they all match.
Yeah, and they're all kind of looking and noticing.
They're trying to do the badass thing.
Yeah. And, like, the Bad Batch is like, huh. Those guys are new.
Fucking run-a-cops.
Yeah. So they get back to Sid's bar, and it's like way more crowded than usual. Because usually there's like 2 people.
The whole point of them hanging out there is that there's no one ever there.
Yeah. So not only is there like a bajillion people there, but there's also a bunch more of those like gray armored guys. And they're like, okay, this is really weird. Usually Sid doesn't have customers, which makes it curious as to how she's able to keep a bar open, but we don't ask questions.
Yeah.
So they try to walk back into Sid's office, and one of the armored dudes is like, "Hey, you're not allowed back there." And Hunter's like, "Well, fuck you," and punches him into the wall. So they walk back there, and there's more of the armored dudes, and also Deveronian, the little horned guys from I think it's from the cantina in episode 4.
Yeah, there is one. I thought they all had red skin, though. Did you confirm it's a Deveronian? Or did you just kind of assume?
I'm like, I assumed, but
I'm going to look it up because
okay.
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he is, but I thought they all had like red skin.
Well, anyway, our alien, whether it's a Deveronian or not, says, "Well, yeah. So Sid's out. I'm in. Take a look at my cute lizard Ruby that Sid got for me.
Yeah.
You guys can work for me if you want." And Hunter's like, we'll pass. So they're walking back to the ship, and Hunter's like, "All right, we're getting the fuck out of here. Tech, warm up the engines. Everyone else, let's get some supplies." And I was like, whoa, wait. Sid helped us a whole bunch, and now you guys just want to fly away? That's kind of a dick move. And,
yeah.
And from their ship, Sid says, "Thank you. At least somebody fucking cares."
Yeah. Sidebar, he is a Deveronian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Scrolling through my notes here. So they get back on board the ship. Sid is hanging out with her two regulars, the Weequay and the Ithorian. She's like, "All right, look."
Her like thugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
her Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. The dude who took over the bar is named Roland. He's a small-time gangster trying to make a name for himself. Yes, Deveronian. He's got this deal with the Pikes, who are these like essentially drug cartel.
Huge douchebags.
Yeah, you learn about them in
Clone Wars.
Yeah. And the various other animated series. So she's like, "All right, look, what we're going to do is..."
In fact, that 3-episode arc where Ahsoka and the two sisters in the new Clone Wars season, like when they're in jail for 3, they're in a Pike jail.
It's the Pikes, yeah. She's like, "All right, so here's what's going on. Roland is like buying and selling spice. So, and the Pikes are coming by to pick it up."
Which also, I'm sorry to interrupt again. Before, I had always kind of assumed that spice, based on how it is in the expanding universe, is like space heroin.
It is.
They're just treating that real fucking casual. they're like hardcore drug traffickers.
Well, they go into that a little bit in the last season.
It's Disney
of Clone
Plus,
Wars, right?
So I don't know, but they're like, "Oh, it's just spice."
Well, this episode also has them using the word "kill," which is ordinarily a no-no for cartoons.
Yeah.
Like, you're not allowed to say that in child's
Yeah, I gotta say like
television.
the word annihilate or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they just straight up say "kill" later. So I like, they're clearly making this for a more mature audience.
Disney's going to the dark side.
Yeah. Anyway, so the deal is they're going to sneak into Sid's old office where Roland is currently squatting. And they're going to steal the spice, and then he won't be able to pay the Pikes, and the Pikes will take him out, and Sid will have her office back. So like, all right, the way we're going to do this, we're going to climb down into these like mining tunnels that are underneath the city they're in. And we're going to take these mine carts, and like they have to hand crank them because they're old and the engines don't really work.
Well, aren't they?
I'm getting there.
Yeah, okay.
I'm getting there. Tech's like, "Well, I can just fix his engine." She's like, no. That's too loud.
Yeah.
Where we're going, we don't need engines. So like hand pumping these mine carts through the tracks. And Sid's like, "All right, when we go through this door, none of you are allowed to talk." Which really should have been her stipulation from the beginning.
Yeah.
But especially here, nobody's allowed to make any sound because the hive is on the other side of this door. And everyone's like, "What's the hive?" And she's like, You're talking way too much. You're not supposed to talk right now." Big guy, open the door. And Wrecker's like, "Yeah, okay," and opens the door. And they go like cranking their mine carts through. And like Wrecker shines his, like it's the walls are covered in spider webs. There's like a crevasse above them. This big cave is really dark and it's covered with these spider web looking things. And Wrecker's like shining his flashlight. And like, this looks really fucked up. And then he like accidentally like throws his
drops
flashlight.
it.
Yeah. And it like clanks a whole bunch on the way down. And Sid's like, "I thought I told you to not make a sound, you dumbass." And Wrecker's like, "It was an accident."
By the way, did that remind you at all of Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring?
Fool of a tongue.
Yeah, that's what I said. John and I were watching. It's exactly what I said.
Yeah. So like, there's a whole bunch of like screeching and groaning and scary monster sounds. And finally, they're like, "All right, I think we're okay. We made it out of this. Let's just keep going on our little manually operated mine carts." They get out of the spooky hive section and they get to the I guess the station directly underneath Sid's office. And Hunter's like, okay, so how are we going to get in there if Roland's there? And Sid's like, don't worry, I have my best men working on this. She presses a button, and like we cut to Sid's bar, where there's the Weequay just sitting there with a box of Mantel mix, and he has this little communicator resting on his lap, and the communicator starts like blinking. He's like, okay, time for me to do my job. He gets up, carrying his box of Mantel mix, and like Roland and some of his guards and his lizard Ruby are hanging out by the bar. So this Weequay just like drops a piece of Mantel mix right in front of Ruby, and Ruby's like, "Oh, I'm gonna hop down and eat that."
Yeah.
And the Weequay just walks away, keeps dropping little pieces.
He does the ET thing with the Reese's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ruby's just like hopping after it and gobbling up, having the time of her life. She gets outside and she's looking around for more Mantel mix, and the Ithorian just slams down this cage on her, and it's very traumatic.
Yeah.
So
poor lizard.
Yeah. These two people of questionable morals just kidnapped an innocent lizard.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Not only do they have questionable morals, but they're fucking stupid.
Yeah. So while this is happening, the Bad Batch guys go climbing up the ladder into Sid's office, and they're like, oh yeah, look, there's 6 big crates of space heroin. We're going to just steal these now.
Yeah.
So they
try not to shoot it.
Yeah. So they take him down and load him on the carts, and Echo's like, okay, they're coming back now, so I'm gonna like seal the door with my robot arm. The Ithorian and the Weequay eventually get captured by the guards, and Ruby gets recovered, and it's a medium happy ending for everyone involved. But so Roland gets back to his office, and he's like, wait a minute, the door is locked. I'm gonna shoot the lock with my gun.
Yeah.
And he does, and the door pops open. And he's like, there was 6 crates of spice there.
Where's
right?
my space heroin?
Like there was definitely a whole lot of drugs there when we just left here.
He's like jonesing and shit like that. He's like, where is it? Where's that space heroin?
So Sid and the Bad Batch are like trying to get away on their mine carts, and Roland's guards hop down. They're like, oh, there they are. They're driving away on those mine carts, and they get on their mine carts and they turn on the engines because they don't give a shit about sound.
They don't give a fuck. Yep.
And they're like cruising down the rails, and
let's make all the noise that we can.
Wrecker's like, they're coming, and starts shooting with his gun. Sid's like, I told you to shut up. What are you doing? Yeah. Well, they started, and he keeps shooting.
Yeah, I mean, because Wrecker's a child.
Yes.
So this was Sid's mistake.
Yes.
She should have said, listen, you giant fuck. There are tons of insects in this area.
Spoilers.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean, they're clearly insects there, right?
Yeah.
But she should have been like, if we make sound, they'll fucking eat us.
Mm-hmm.
You will die. But instead, she's just like, be quiet. Like, that's going to fucking work with Wrecker.
So the Bad Batch eventually like manages to get these 2 mine carts worth of goons to crash, and they're out of commission. So they go into the infested region of the cave, right? Along another track comes another bunch of goons in a mine cart, and they're shooting and having a great time, and it's a throwdown. And at this point, all the commotion wakes up the hive, and all of a sudden there's like a bajillion bugs flying through the air, like they're almost more like bats in the way they're swarming around and the sound they're making.
Well, it's kind of the Star Wars thing. Nothing is ever quite like animals that we know on Earth. There always some like weird mixture of 2 different animals.
So there's a whole bunch of chaos going on. Tech is like shining his flashlight at one of them, and it turns out that they don't like light very much. It's like, use your flashlights, and everyone starts doing that, and it works pretty well. Unfortunately, in all the commotion, the bugs managed to knock all 6 crates of the spice off of the mine carts and down into the cave. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, that's kind of okay because at least Roland doesn't have it now. So let's just get on the other side of this door and close it up.
Yeah.
So they do, and they get out of it, and they're like, yay, we're all happy, mission accomplished.
Which, by the way, I had this feeling, they don't say so, but I had this feeling that Sid was kind of hoping she could turn around and sell the space heroin.
Obviously, it's Sid. Come on. So Roland is in his office.
Or just use it all. I don't know.
Yeah. She's going to snort all that, like off the Ithorian's neck.
Yeah. Oh, God. No, Chris, we don't. No. We don't need fucking mental images like that.
So Roland is talking to the Ithorian and the Weequay, and they're like, well, we don't know where Sid is. She just told us to do this, and blah, 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 blah. They're blubbering. Roland's like, you guys are the dumbest fucks ever. And then the Pike's walking. He's like, oh my god, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And the Pikes are like, so where's our space heroine? And Roland's like, I don't have it, but I have the money. I'll be able to pay you. I just need a little bit of time. And the Pikes
That's exactly what you expect him to say when he's like coming short with
the Pikes
drugs.
are like, no, we need our money like right fucking now. And Roland like pulls out his gun, and all his goons pull his guns. They're like, I will pay you. I just need a little bit of time. And the Pikes are like, bitch, please, do you know who you're pulling a gun on?
We are probably the best criminal drug empire in all of Star Wars.
Like, if you
we held Ahsoka in prison for 3 fucking days and she couldn't get out.
Even if you manage to, spontaneously grow a pair of testicles and shoot us, like, you will not survive another month.
In which we know that Deveronians don't have testicles because they have horns.
It's true.
That's where the testicles are.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that's actually true, but
so Roland just realizes that he's just completely fucked here, and we cut away before we find out what he says. But Sid and the Bad Batch go back into her bar and like walk in the front door, and they find that the place is just full of corpses. Like, it's a giant mess. There's obviously a big fight that happened here. They're like, okay, this is kind of weird. This is a little more corpsey than the bar usually is, but at least Roland is gone. And then Roland walks in with the Pikes. He's like, yeah, that's her, the lizard right there. She stole your drugs. And the Pikes are like, hi, we would like our drugs back. And Sid's like, now let's just talk about this.
Since you asked so politely.
I don't know what he was telling you, but we certainly don't have any drugs. And the Pikes are like, well, that's a real shame, because now we're gonna have to kill you. Hunter's like, wait. We know where the drugs are. We can get them for you. And the Pikes are like, yes, okay, you're going to do that, except you're going to leave Omega with us.
Right.
And everyone's like, nope, pull your guns. Sid's like, wait. If we, like, it's either she stays here for a little while we go get the drugs, or we all die.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, too. The Bad Batch could kill every fucking Pike in that room. That's not the problem.
The problem is the Pikes are like this
giant
galaxy-spanning
empire,
criminal syndicate. So, all right, here's the plan. Sid and the Bad Batch get back on the ship. They fly over the big crevasse over the infested area.
It's a hole in the ground.
Yeah. And so Sid and Wrecker are going to like rappel down from these cables on the side of the ship, and they're going to find the crates and get them back up. Tech says that the bugs are a species called Erlings, which are nocturnal insects that have thermal vision, basically.
Which is why they don't like light too much.
So that they will come out at night and swarm around and do terrible things, but during the day they're okay. The only problem is that they're going to this cave like when it's kind of towards evening. So the sun's going down and it's going to be night pretty soon and shit'll go down. But like, okay, we just have to get these things really fast. It'll be fine. So Sid and Wrecker go down and they like get to and like get them pulled up into the ship. We cut back to the bar where Omega and Roland are just kind of sitting there handcuffed on the ground like, man, this really sucks. Roland's like, yeah, like my mom would be so ashamed of me because she's this really successful crime lord. And Omega's like, your family are criminals too. And he's like, it sounds so mean when you say it like that.
She does come off as super fucking judgmental.
Yeah. Like she's
so naive.
But also Ruby comes over and kind of snuggles in Omega's lap, and it's very cute, and they kind of bond over that because Ruby's cute for a lizard. So that they have like 4 of the crates back up in the ship, and Echo's like, it's gonna be nighttime pretty soon. We should probably get out of here. And Tech's like, don't worry about that. I'm working on this little cylinder thing. It'll be great. Don't have to worry about it. Back down in the cave, Wrecker and Sid get the last 2 crates. They're like, all right, cool. Now we just have to sit on these things and ride them back up, and everything's going to be great.
Everything has gone fine. Everything will go fine. Yep. There will be no problem here.
Yep. Sid is like telling Wrecker to shut up and don't move around too much. And like her crate manages to nudge one of the mine carts that was like half on the rails, half off. And it falls off and makes a huge sound. And she's just like, oh, fuck. Because
we knew it was going here, yeah.
So the Erlings come out and start swarming around, and Tech's like, wait, I can fix this. He pulls out his thingy, like presses a button on it, throws it down there, and it falls down to the very bottom, and it turns out it's a gigantic flashbang, and just poof, and all the Erlings are like, fuck, I'm blind! More blind than usual! and they fly
You have
off.
to you have to read the subtitles to get that. That's like you don't see what they're saying there unless you turn the subtitles on.
Yeah.
They literally say, "Oh fuck my eyes! Oh fuck! Oh fuck!"
Oh god, this hurts so much.
Yeah.
So they get Wrecker, Sid, and the spice aboard safely and fly back to the spaceport. So they're pulling the crates off. The Pikes are there. The Pikes like give them back Omega, who's carrying Ruby. And they're like, okay, yeah, we got our 6 crates of spice back. As you have delivered our goods, we consider this matter closed. Good job. It was a pleasure doing business with you. Roland, however, you're not so lucky. And they like force him down to his knees and put his head on the crate. And this one guy has a knife out. And Omega's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
No, they look like they're gonna cut the dude's throat. Yeah.
She's like, you don't need to do that. And Sid's like, yeah, like this dude is a fucking chump, but his mom is actually a pretty significant crime boss. And I don't think you want a war like that. And the Pikes are like, bitch, please, you don't know what we want. And the kid pulls up the knife, swings it down, and he cuts off one of Roland's horns.
Yeah.
Which I guess is like a status symbol for Deveronians or something.
I guess. Did you ever play Star Wars: The Old Republic?
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking
Yeah, because the Deveronian you have as a companion has like a bomb
Yep.
in one of his, right? Yeah.
Bomb hidden one of his horns. And
Which is
uses
a great
it.
fucking idea, by the way. It's like, hey, did you see my hand grenade fucking horn?
So like, okay, you know, they're happy. The Pikes walk away with their horn and their drugs. Roland's like, well, this really sucks. Omega just kind of gives him back Ruby, and he's like, well, I guess I'll never see you guys again, and walks away. And Sid's like, well,
my mom's gonna be so mad.
dude, he's gonna get a stern talking to and be sent to bed without dinner.
Yeah, probably a spanking.
Sid's like, all right, let's go back to my bar. First round of drinks is on me. And Wrecker's like, woo!
Yep.
Because, you know, he's a child who's being offered booze.
Who's allowed to drink?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hunter talks to Omega like, so why exactly did you try to help him? Because he's a really big douche. And Omega's like, well, Ruby liked him, so he can't be all bad. That was, again, a terrible New Zealand accent.
That's all right.
I'm very sorry to all the Kiwis out there.
It's only offensive. It's fine.
But that's the end. That's the episode.
Yeah. All right. And
So-
cue the music. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-ba-ba.
So the last time we talked about the Bad Batch, we mentioned that it was that to our perception, it would be like 1 or 2 more filler episodes and then the season-ending arc, which this kind of felt like a filler episode.
Yes.
My guess is that Roland is coming back either in that season-ending arc or sometime next season.
Huh. Really?
I kind of got that feeling,
Oh.
like watching him walking away and the last few things he said.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. It's I'm trying real hard to like, you know, I know the show is for kids, mostly for kids, and it's for a specific demographic of the Star Wars fan base.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't really for like, you know, everyone.
This is probably for like the middle schoolers out there.
Yeah, or even I mean, that isn't to say that if you're an adult and you really enjoy that you're a middle schooler, but you probably like clones more than I do, or you liked the clone part of Clone Wars more than I did. Because like the first couple of episodes with Kanan and fucking lightsabers and shit, like I was all for that. That was awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Order 66 and all that other bullshit. And then it's just like the A-team going on missions, and it's just like.
It's fine. It's just not what we come to Star Wars for.
Yeah, the other thing that's really disorienting to me is that the end credits music, which is really good music, is
whatever.
Is it's played on virtual instruments and it sounds like shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound very good, so it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. I forgot to watch this one.
Oh,
I did. So it drops on Fridays.
Friday, yes.
I didn't watch it until like Sunday. Because we went to go do this stream on Saturday. And someone in the chat was like, hey, what'd you think of blah, 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 Bad Batch? And I was like,
oh my God, I forgot.
I have not watched it. I forgot it existed. So anyway, we're going to leave that here for tonight. I don't see any, I wasn't a huge fan of this episode.
It was very fillery.
Yeah, it's what I expected it to be, which is fine. I think that this is just stuff to kind of keep us busy until we get shit like Obi-Wan and Ahsoka and Star Wars Acolytes. We are going to be, we're not going to be able to do Star Wars news probably at some point because we have so much shit to talk about.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to be back here in about 5 minutes for our Battlefront stream. So make sure you tune in for that. And then we'll talk more